Hi, my name's Ishmael and today we're going to be talking about how you make your life more interesting and more fulfilling. So, how do you do this? Well, one way is by turning your life into a game. Now, rather than going through life saying, well, this is a challenge, this is a challenge, you look at it as a game. Back when I was younger and we used to have computer games that were really fun, like Super Mario Land or various games like this where it's a 2D. In my case, it was more like Commander Keen. A lot of people haven't heard of it because it's on an Amstrad. And a lot of people didn't have Amstrads. So back then it was very simple. You used to go and you used to play this game and it used to be like your goal was to get through the level. It didn't matter how many times you failed, how many times you fell down the pit, how many times you got attacked, how many times you lost your life and had to start at the beginning. It didn't matter. Failure was not an issue. You'd just go, you'd fall down a pit, you'd end up dying, you'd go back to the beginning, you'd start all over again. And you would go on and on and on, and you'd be aiming to get to the end of the level, and you'd be like, yes, a mini achievement, I've got to the end of the level. And then you went on, and you got to the next level, and you might have fallen down and fallen down and fallen down, and in some cases, you lost so many times that you had to go right back to the very beginning of the game and start all over again. Lots of games like this I used to play, and a lot of people my age used to play them too, before the new computer game systems came out. And this is a very good example of how you should go through life, because if you look at life as a game, then you start going through life and you go, oh, I failed, does it matter? Not really. Oh, I failed, does it matter? Not really. Oh, I failed, I had to go all the way back to the beginning. It's statistically that when you're trying to start a business, 8 out of every 9 businesses fail. Only 1 out of 9 businesses actually succeed to actually become a proper business. And approximately 30% of businesses fail in the first year. 80% of businesses lose money in the first year. So if you're trying to start a business, can you see how failure is actually one of the best options? Because you have to fail 8 times before the 9th business works. So if this is the case, then why do you go through life looking at things as failures? It's because you look at things as a challenge. You look at things as a setback rather than an opportunity to learn. In a game, what you do is you see a hole, you see an enemy, and when you get there and you get close to there, you're cautious and you react accordingly. And so you make adjustments in your environment. You make adjustments as you go through life. You need to go through life making adjustments to make sure that you fit in with everything around you. So, how does this actually look? Well, as you can see, you go through life doing all these things. Now, most people, what they do is they go through life and they go, oh, I failed. And they get set back because their business may have failed, or they've lost money, or they haven't taken the opportunity, or they didn't achieve the task they wanted to first time round. So they get set back. And the studies were done that what happened is if they had a point system, they had a challenge, and they had to overcome this challenge. And one person had a challenge where they would just keep going and keep going and keep going, and once they overcame this challenge, they'd get to the next level, and it was an experiment. And the other people had a challenge, the exact same challenge, but there was one difference. The difference was they had points, and when they failed, they lost points. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly enough, the people who kept failing and losing points, what happened to them? They gave up sooner, and they had a lower success rate. They had a 52% success rate as opposed to a 68% success rate in passing the task and getting to the next level or the next stage. And on top of that, the people who actually didn't have a point system tried 2.5 times more often before they gave up in the game than the other people. And this is why they succeeded, because they had 2.5 times more determination. They kept pushing forward. They didn't give up. They just moved forward. They didn't see it as a setback because they weren't losing anything. All they saw it as was, oh, well, that was one way not to do it. And because of that, they kept moving forward, as opposed to the people who saw it as a setback because they lost points. The thing is, the points weren't real money. There was no tangible value. There was no way of transferring those points into anything else. It was purely in this particular game. And it wasn't like they were going to go and tell people, because this was only an experiment. So it wasn't like, yes, I got through and I got through with 200 points, I got through with 100 points. It wasn't like that. And therefore the point system made no actual difference to what happened in the game or what happened outside of the game. But mentally it affected them because they felt like they were failing. They felt like they were being set back. And when you feel like you're being pushed backwards, you get knocked back and you don't want to go further. As you keep getting knocked and knocked and knocked, what happens? You find it difficult to push forward. Whereas the people who didn't have the setbacks or imaginary setbacks, they just felt like, oh, well, I'll just carry on. And that's what happened. So, what do you need to do? You need to look at your life as a challenge, as an opportunity to learn, as an objective where you're going. When you set yourself a goal, see that goal as a target. See it as a game. See it as a challenge to get there. But don't worry if you don't get there. Don't worry if you get pushed back. Don't worry if you get set back, if you lose points, if you lose money. Don't worry about this, because it doesn't really affect anything in the grand scheme of things. All it affects is your mindset. Your mindset is all it affects. Now, if you can control your mindset, you can control your mind. And if you can control your mind, you control your life. So make sure you take every precaution to be conscious of your mind, your mindset, and everything about it at all times. Be present, be conscious, be mindful. Like, subscribe, and click that bell notification icon to get notified of videos coming out each and every week.